The year was 2020. I was a PhD candidate at the time, and I set out to examine what Black Americans value most in this day and age. I was curious to know if this notion of an American dream was relevant, or dare I say, realistic for Black people. If in 1865, the dream was owning 40 acres and a mule, and over 100 years later, as James Baldwin dreamed to not have the oppressor stand in our way or our children's way, what might Black Americans be dreaming about or aspiring to present day? Now, before I tell you what I discovered, let me give you some context for how this curiosity even formed. In March of 2020, we were in the midst of a global pandemic, which meant that approximately 47 million Black Americans were grappling with its effects. The CDC was reporting that Black Americans were experiencing a higher likelihood of job loss, insufficient food supplies, difficulties paying rent, mortgage, limited access to healthcare, the list goes on. We were still grieving the deaths of Trayvon Martin and Sandra Bland when both George Floyd and Breonna Taylor were killed. Not to mention Barack Obama, the first Black president, had completed his 2 terms, and the change that had ushered him in had been replaced by the mantra, "Make America Great Again," which felt eerily like a sequel to Jordan Peele's Get Out. Hopeless, in the sunken place of grief, feeling as though you're losing everything, including yourself, it's understandable why dreaming of a brighter future might serve as a coping mechanism. So I, the Black media psychologist grappling with the same reality, turned to my most reliable resource to conduct the Do We Still Have a Dream test, Black Twitter. Using Kasser and Ryan's 1996 Aspiration Index, I asked participants to rank the following 4 aspirations in order of importance: financial success, personal image, personal growth, and community feeling. Now, you may be wondering why these 4. Let's take financial success, for instance. Historical injustices such as slavery, segregation, redlining, discriminatory lending practices have all had lasting repercussions on the economic well-being of Black Americans. So it would make sense why we would aspire to financial success. Personal image. Black Americans desire to cultivate a positive self-image that reflects our strengths, talents, and achievements. However, achieving a positive personal image can be complicated by societal stereotypes and systemic barriers that limit opportunities for advancement. Then there's personal growth, turning more to the internal instead of the external. Black Americans desire to learn new skills, expand their knowledge, and pursue personal and professional development. All of that makes sense to me. And then there's community feeling, helping to better the world and the lives of others. Black Americans' shared history of oppression fosters a sense of solidarity and duty to uplift one another and combat injustice. But all of that can be really difficult to achieve. However, you know what Black Americans desire more than anything else? Community feeling. There is a need for a deep sense of connection. And I believe one of the most profound ways to feel a sense of community is through civic engagement. When we're connected to one another, whether through shared values, ideals, and experiences, we're more likely to participate in civic activities aimed at promoting the common good. Imagine a world where civic engagement isn't just a duty, but a daily, dynamic, life-altering experience. So at this point, you're probably wondering, okay, what exactly is civic engagement? According to the American Psychological Association, civic engagement is the individual and collective action to identify and address issues of public concern. Now, there are many ways to go about civic engagement, but I believe one of the most underestimated yet profound ways actually fits right into the palm of our hands. Okay, go with me. Raise your hand if the first thing you do each day is reach for your phone. All right. Raise your hand if the last thing you do before bed each night is reach for your phone. All right, myself included. All right, now I'm not going to judge you on which apps you might frequent the most. However, what I will tell you is that we spend about 2 hours and 20 minutes each day on social media platforms. And Black Americans spend more time on social media than any other racial group. However, there is often a disconnect between our intentions to participate in discussions aimed at promoting the common good and the actual impact of our social media behavior on the well-being of others. Until now. Here are 3 ways to reimagine civic engagement during those 2+ hours we spend on social media each day. Number 1, rethink echo chambers. Back in 2020, the CDC conducted a survey where 4% of participants admitted to gargling diluted bleach, disinfectants, and soapy waters to combat COVID-19. Wonder where they got that idea. Nevertheless, if we extrapolate that 4% of the data, that's nearly 10 million people who participated in consuming these miracle mineral supplements. Now, I don't know about you, but there will be no encouraging of shots of bleach attached to my legacy. In other words, I want us to avoid groupthink and critically assess our beliefs, engage with diverse perspectives to combat misinformation and divisive rhetoric. Number 2, challenge your confirmation bias. Social media often reinforces our existing beliefs. You can counteract this by following diverse accounts, especially during events like elections. Support independent journalists and content creators such as myself who offer a nuanced analysis. In doing so, we promote a more inclusive online community. And number 3, foster empathy and understanding. You can create a positive online community by responding more with kindness instead of hostility. Don't be so quick to cancel someone because everybody's doing it. Know your why. Recognize that there are real human beings on the other side of these social media profiles, and humanize them. In doing so, we cultivate kindness and compassion and create a more supportive and connective online community. Now, when I began my talk today, I started out by shedding light on the fact that in previous generations, many Black Americans sought that something be given back to us or that the oppressor would just simply move out of our way. I, for one, am still seeking justice in these areas. However, if community feeling is truly the reality that we seek, that's a shift in culture. And to that end, we've always been pioneers. And so I leave you with this. If in the end, all you had to leave behind is what you did with this, would your digital footprint lead others to a future full of hope or to a deadly virus that could have been prevented? Thank you.